Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to hear it. Every time you pass the Echelon building on 183, because it'll be standing for a while, I want you to hear God's voice in a fresh way saying, choose love. Just in case you forgot, there remains these three: faith, hope, and love. But every time you pass that building, remember that the greatest of these is love. Every time you pass that building on 183, as you're making your way to work, choose love by choosing acceptance over anger. Acceptance is important because acceptance gives us the ability to change what we can. It gives us the ability to change those things that are vulnerable to our creativity and our hard work. One angry thought, however, cultivated over years, grows into a seemingly legitimate reason for suicide and various forms of sabotage. Unchecked anger gives us a case of moral amnesia, and we forget what our purpose is. We forget that we are the image of God. We forget that we are snapshots of the beauty of our Creator. And that when people encounter us, they ought to feel like God is bigger than He was before the encounter. We forget that people are human. We forget that every stranger whose eyes we look into is our brother and sister by creation. Every time you pass that Echelon building, in a fresh way, covenant to choose acceptance over anger. Every time you pass that building, choose love by cherishing people over possessions. Everybody look up here, please. Point your love in the right direction. Point your love, point your affection in the right direction. Make sure that every time you think of Vernon Hunter, make sure that every time you pass that building on 183, that you, in a fresh way, decide again to love people and not things. Instead of loving things and using people. Determine in a fresh way that you're going to be the kind of person who loves people and uses things. You're not going to be thingified. A lot of times we try to replace God with stuff. We try to replace relationships with stuff. And when we try to do this, what happens is that we protect stuff and injure people. We base our self-worth on our net worth when we cherish people over possessions. But friend, listen to me. When you cherish people, like Vernon Hunter did, you feel God's pleasure. That's why Vernon Hunter was so intrigued by his neighbors. That's why he made up excuses. Vernon had enough money to buy eggs. He had enough money to buy butter. He just needed any little excuse to feel God's pleasure all over again. Oh, it feels good when you love people. Life is so much richer when you love people. When you choose to embrace that creative, redemptive goodwill for even people who don't look like you love. That's what life is all about. Every time you and I pass that building, have to choose love. And we do it as well by trusting God over government. Please listen to me. No matter how good our political leaders are, they cannot give us what we really need. a life that works. They can't place joy in your heart. And a lot of the anger that we see on public television that is directed at our political officials and even our highest and most honorable political officials is really rooted in our desire to deify the government. All right. To trust the government to do for us what only God can do. And that's where the anger comes from. That's where the lack of civility comes from. We are expecting the government to do what it cannot do. It's political idolatry. It's the deification of Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is human.